We just did a quick video about some weird app. You should go check it out on Master's channel. Master's putting the flag back up. I want to do a video today about emotional labor and power exchange, but also being a woman or being female-bodied. For anybody that doesn't know what that means, I have a online definition. So, let's get started. Let me move this here. Oh, you found your pants. Yeah. Sorry, just on Master's pants. So, I'm going to talk about emotional labor, and feel free to chime in. So, the internet says emotional labor is the process of managing feelings or expressions to fulfill emotional requirements of a job. More specifically, workers are expected to regulate emotions during interactions with customers, coworkers, etc. That is a very, that's a very quick definition. Let's see what Wikipedia says. It's a process of managing feelings and expressions to fulfill emotional requirements of job. More specifically, regulate blah blah blah. This includes analyzing and decision making in terms of expression of emotion, whether actually felt or not, as well as the opposite, this expression of emotions that are felt but are not expressed. Rules that have identified as requiring emotional labor include, but are not limited to, public administration, flight attendant, daycare worker, librarian, call center worker, sex worker, teacher, librarian, and I would also add slave. And I'm obviously not the greatest at this because I have anxiety, but I would sit here and say that when you're in a power exchange relationship, and especially when you're serving somebody, be it as their slave or their submissive, you have to regulate yourself. They also regulate you, but you also have to regulate yourself. So I have anxiety, so I'm often really honest about where I'm at and how I feel about things, because that's one of Master's rules. But a lot of dominants don't necessarily want to hear all the inner workings or allow you to hear all the inner workings. So therefore, you are doing emotional labor. And again, emotional labor is defined as doing, suppressing or not suppressing your emotions, monitoring your emotions for a job. And I would say serving Master is a job. It's a part of my identity, but it's also a job. And a job I like, but it's also like a job. And I also do emotional labor in my job. In my job, I work in a cancer center, and I constantly talk to people that are in emotional stress. So again, a lot of emotional labor. And some people, some female-bodied people especially, and some people that are more nurturing care type, do a lot of emotional labor for others. Be that in their friendships, their relationships, in their community, and they support others and do a lot of emotional labor, and sometimes don't listen to how they feel about things. And so why I wanted to bring this topic up, especially with people who are S-minded, slaves and submissives, no matter if you're attached or not, it's really important to think about, be aware of that, and think about that is something, a part of your life and a part of your dynamic. And I encourage you, hopefully you have a partner. If you're a partner, do you have a partner that is willing to talk about this with you? And really, what are their expectations, and when are you allowed to, when are you supposed to, allowed to, and when do they want you to express your emotions and where you're at? Because for me with anxiety, I need to be able to be honest and upfront about how I'm feeling. Sometimes it doesn't feel very slave-like to be like, I'm upset with you, so... but emotional labor, I feel like we could talk about this forever. I know I'm only at 4 minutes right now. But one of the things that people also say in society is that women or female-bodied people do a lot of emotional labor. Think about being a stay-at-home mom. They're all stay-at-home dads and, people that are genderqueer and non-conforming that are also stay-at-home parents. But traditionally, we think of stay-at-home mom. So stay-at-home moms do a lot of emotional labor. Teachers do a lot of emotional labor. A therapist does a lot of emotional labor. Someone sits to you, in a session with you and tells you, I almost killed myself 4 times. You can't sit there and yell or, get emotional and cry or get really upset. It's a part of your job to monitor your emotions. So I would totally love to hear people's thoughts and feelings on this. What do you think is the biggest part of serving or being in a power exchange relationship when it comes to emotional labor? Do you feel that you are attracted to emotional labor, or that you stay away from it? And I'm also curious, I do think on the top side there, they do this too as well, especially when they're trying to help with us processing things and with, what direction things go. So the top side does this too, but there is definitely an element of doing this on the bottom that I want to bring attention to. So, again, emotional labor I could do a whole video about feminism and emotional labor, but there's a whole article here on the Huffington Post. It's called Why Women Are Tired, the Price of Unpaid Emotional Labor, which is something that people mention a lot, that women, you know, how they make less than men and all that stuff, and that their emotional labor plays a role into that, and that we're actually doing things that we're not getting paid for. For example, my job, I do provide emotional support, and I do sometimes have to try to talk people down from being suicidal. It's not that I sit there and, like, don't do it, but I have to, like, ask them if they're okay, you know, if they need help, and even though sometimes I'm like freaking out on the inside. So I don't get paid to be a social worker or anything like that. I'm not a social worker, but I'm still doing that. So yeah, and there's an article here about, you know, being at home and doing emotional labor, and sometimes it's not recognized. And as a slave, like, you know, doing the laundry and, like, monitoring somebody and how they're doing, getting them their drink, like, these things are a part of, like, emotional labor. Not physically doing the laundry, but also, like, if you're not feeling good and yet you're doing the laundry, you're monitoring yourself and you're doing emotional labor. And also, like, when you think about how you want to speak to your dominant or your master, and you're really thinking about that, that's monitoring yourself in an emotional labor way as well. Because you don't want to be disrespectful, right? You want to be really sincere and, like, respectful. And so you are kind of filtering yourself, which I'm not advocating against that. But that is, yeah, this is kind of one of those topics that's, like, really huge. But I just want to bring attention to it. So again, if you have any thoughts or feelings, I would love to hear them, especially on the top side too. If anyone is a dominant or a master type that is watching this video, I would love to hear what you have to say. All right, I am really tired, so I'm gonna go and do the laundry. But have a good one, guys, and hope to talk to you soon. Oh, can we also just bring attention to this lip color? Look at how purple it is. All right, bye, guys. Trying to get this video